Hello, my name is Noah, and this is the first episode of my podcast, Drunken Discogs. Before we get into it, I just wanted to do a quick introduction of what this podcast is. This is a podcast where I get a revolving cast of my good friends together to discuss and rank music. Each episode we select a new and completely random album for us to listen to and rank song by song. Along with this, we also choose a new type of alcoholic beverage for each of us to try and rank along with the music. This is just a fun idea I came up with some of my close friends. We all love music and have these conversations with each other anyway, so we figured why not record it, and hopefully we can bring some enjoyment to others who love music as much as we do. This first episode ran a little long because we started with introductions. We normally won't do that and we'll jump straight into the rankings, so if you don't want to hear us mindlessly yap, you can skip to 38 minutes in and hear the ranking. For this episode, we were reviewing Bring Me the Horizon's new album, Post-Human NeX GEn. And joining me are two of my good friends, Devin and Caesar. Hope you enjoy. Which flavors do you guys have again?
Yeah.
So,
I have.
yeah, you go ahead, Devin. Sorry about it.
I have the Limerita Chiller. I have the Buzzball Chillers, which are apparently wine. Pineapple Jalapeno. And Strawberry Rita.
Ooh. Sweet. And since I live in a Mormon state that is extremely regulated alcohol-wise, I only have one flavor. It's just going to be the Buzzballs, the cocktails, chalk teas, which I've heard is supposed to be this coffee-esque kind of a flavor, so I'm not exactly sure what to expect.
You know what? I didn't actually think about that when inviting you to do this, is that you're so limited on what you probably can buy out there.
Yeah.
How many liquor stores do you even have in your general vicinity?
That's the thing, is there's not really a liquor store where you can just like go buy just like beer, right? There's like state-run liquor stores.
Oh my god.
So you have to, if you want alcohol, like say if I just wanted to go in and pick up, you know, a bottle of whiskey or something, I'd have to go to that state-run liquor store. But there are like breweries, that do, you know, like specialty brews in-house. But yeah, not like you guys, that's for sure.
No, we have liquor stores everywhere. We live in the South, so we identify with our liquor.
I mean, it's God and liquor. That's what we have down here.
Yeah, absolutely. Living straight into.
We have God and magic underwear, so that's pretty much it.
But you do have God. You do have God over there.
Yeah.
I guess so.
All right. Well, I figure we can probably
let's crack one of these open.
Yeah, let's go over our general thoughts on the album while opening up our first drink. I'm gonna go ahead and try the Tequila Rita one first. And we'll kind of just see how we feel.
I'm going to start with the pineapple jalapeno.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Well, here we go. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
All right, so my the Tequila Rita, honestly, it just tastes like it tastes like a vodka cocktail. Honestly, it's not bad. I don't dislike it.
Yeah, pineapple jalapeno is mostly pineapple, and then after you swallow, it burns your throat. It's also very, very strong.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I mean, I think like, what's the alcohol percentage on your, like the wine one?
15.
Okay, mine's 15 too. We're thinking maybe it'd be different.
Yeah.
How is yours, Caesar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got 15 on mine too. Honestly, it's literally just an iced coffee with a splash of vodka in it. It's quite pleasant.
Oh.
Actually.
Well, yours sounds actually nice.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like whatever abomination you guys are drinking. That shit sounds horrible.
It's not great.
Yeah, pineapple jalapeno is not great.
I would probably wager a guess that mine's probably a little bit better than the jalapeno one, which I will try later because I do have that one as well. I don't know. I think I'll give mine. It's pretty middle of the road. I think I'll give mine a 5 out of 10 on the toastiness scale.
Or I'll let you rate yours first. I feel like you have a lot more to say than I do, Devin.
All right. Yeah, so pineapple jalapeno, it's not good. But I would drink it again if it was given to me for free.
Okay.
So I feel like all that considered, I'll give it like a 3.
That's still better than I thought it was going to be.
Scale.
3 on the toasty scale. Yeah. The pineapple is really saving it. If it weren't for the pineapple flavor, this would suck.
I feel like that'll just like overall.
Me chilling at home with my jalapeno alcohol.
I think overall, I think the pineapple will kill it for me too. I don't really like pineapple. I think it's just going to be bad in general. Yeah.
Well, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're screwed, buddy.
I don't think it's going to be great. All right. What about you, Caesar?
Sweet. Well, this has a. There's not anything bad that I can say about it. It's just quite a pleasant flavor. Very strong, like vanilla. Like it's just like a vanilla iced coffee with a splash of vodka in it. Just a very pleasant flavor. I'd give it a 6.5 on the toasty scale.
Oh, shit.
I wouldn't reach for it, but like I'm not gonna be disappointed if I find it. You know what I mean?
That's generous.
Well,
quite toasty.
I think you're definitely the best off.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
You guys kind of got screwed. As soon as I saw the pineapple jalapeno, I was like, yeah, I just know that's gonna be ass.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I haven't tried it yet, but it's not the move. We'll see. I mean, these are 15% alcohol. We'll see if I even get to it. But all right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into how we feel about the album, and then from there we'll just go into the individual rankings of the songs.
And if you do, it's gonna taste good. Or you're not gonna taste it at all.
Oh yeah, because I'll just be blasted.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
That sounds like a plan.
Were we wanting to like introduce our own? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Were we wanting to like introduce our own backgrounds into music, or like before we all start with our thoughts on the record?
Yeah, please, if you want to.
Noah should go first. I think it would be cool if the rotation would be like Noah, Devin, and me, maybe.
Okay.
All right.
Sure, that's fair. Well, I guess we'll do that.
We can do that, definitely.
If that's cool with y'all.
Yeah,
I don't want to
sure.
do nothing.
Because Noah is mommy.
Noah is mommy. Mommy Noah.
Oh,
Mommy
please.
Noah.
No. Well, okay. I mean, as far as like background in music, I mean, I've always just been a heavy, avid listener of music. I have a lot of influences, mainly from Southern California punk rock. I think my earliest influences come from stuff my dad introduced me to. Bands like, NoFX, Social Distortion, Bad Religion, early Green Day, Crimp Shrine, Operation Ivy, you name it, stuff like that. My mother was a bit of the classic rock influence, going into more stuff like Elton John, Billy Joel, even some like early metal too. I think she introduced me to Sabbath and Metallica. And then later, I kind of got into metal myself. I think that kind of just slowly evolved from punk rock. I got into a lot of thrash metal, and then it just evolved into listening to a lot of metal over time. I don't really have too much experience playing music myself. I mean, I've taken vocal lessons here and there. I can sing a little bit. I can play a little bit of guitar and a little bit of drums. I guess enough to get by, but I probably wouldn't go as far as calling myself a musician. But as far as music knowledge, I do have a bit of a wealth of information. Devin?
Yeah, so my influences in music, you come from my parents, right? Like every, I don't know, good person gets their music taste from their dads. And he was really into like 90s grunge, you know? So that was a huge part of my life. That and the classic rock. And then from there, it kind of evolved into the classic metal, you know? I don't know. Like guys like Sabbath and Dio, you know, Ozzy, Slayer, you know, that's the classic metal is really where my like thrash as well is real like big.
I would say
so it's
like
kind of my background.
sorry to like cut in, but I was gonna say like stuff like Black Flag and Suicidal Tendencies is where like a lot of our stuff tends to mix in a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely overlaps a bit because I mean it's just like natural if you're listening to music, you know, you're going to explore. I definitely listen to a ton of punk. And like he said, like Suicidal Tendencies and Black Flag and, you know, guys like the Descendants. I love them. So, you know, that's really where my background lies.
Pretty cool. I feel like we're all pretty like-minded in terms of music. I really, kind of weird and left field, but my foray into music was mostly old school hip hop, which was I got introduced into a lot of that stuff by my cousins when I was super young. So naturally, I've always been a big fan of mostly Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang.
I was
really
about to say
only... that. Fuck yeah, dude! Wu-Tang. Oh my god, I love Wu-Tang. They were probably my first musical kind of love when I was like super young. But when I hit around second grade, my father introduced me to the likes of grunge music, which is mostly what I identify with today. Anybody that knows me kind of knows me as the grunge guy. As well as, you know, just a whole slew of just different kinds of music, because in second grade, so when I moved from Mexico to Wyoming, and, you know, my father introduced me to grunge music, and my stepmom introduced me to probably the most amount of music, you know, from genres like goth metal, mostly Typo Negative, to be fair, so I'm not going to act like I know a whole slew of goth metal bands, but goth metal, Typo Negative, to David Bowie, Elton John,
oh, there you go.
and to even like early 2000s rap, so like 3-6 Mafia, and, you know, just groups like that as well. And nu metal was super prominent in my household too. I grew up an avid Linkin Park fan.
Yeah.
And,
hell yeah. As I think we probably all did.
Like... Yeah, we all went. Yeah. You know, I went through an emo phase. We all had our fair share of Linkin Park. You know?
I mean, I wouldn't put it
you
as.
Wouldn't believe it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not new metal, but I mean you can probably learn a lot from Devin's profile picture there that has him wearing a Day to Remember shirt.
Yeah.
When he was like 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very telling.
Is Linkin Park? They were my first concert.
Oh. Damn! I never got a chance to see them before Chester passed.
That's kick-ass.
Yeah, it was Linkin Park, Incubus, and Mute Math. Killer fucking lineup.
Yeah, that does sound good.
Yeah.
And then as I've aged, I've still stuck heavy with my grunge roots. actually, I swear on my life, like the next tattoo I'm gonna get is a Soundgarden tattoo, at least Soundgarden related. Like I'm probably gonna do two suns with their eyes gouged out, in reference to some lyrics from Limo Wreck. Two eyes, two suns to heavenly blind. Fucking love that lyric. And then as I've gotten older, I've gotten into the punk scene naturally because I started skateboarding.
Yeah.
And I, found a cool little skateboard shop down here in Salt Lake called Raunch Records. Shout out Raunch Records always. Brad is one of the coolest dudes I know. And back when the skate shop first opened up, I believe in 82 or 83, they had Brad had famous bands like Black Flag, The Descendants, TSOL, the Dickies, and a lot of other bands in that era play shows for them. So if you go into the record skate shop, you'll find old punk posters that were from that era because Ray Pettibon did that shit for Brad's shows, which was super cool. And that's mostly where my stuff. I've dipped my toes into some metal, mostly recently. I mean, I've been getting into Gojira and
we've seen Gojira.
A lot of that other stuff. Yeah, I saw Gojira live, dude. That killer fucking concert. I'm hoping to catch them with Korn and Spirit Box.
I saw that they were
October,
going around
I
with
believe.
them. Yeah, they're coming to do a show here, and I was thinking of going, but I'm not a fan. Like, the more and more local shows that I've been to, I've become less and less of a fan of stadium shows, and that's what's coming here. I'm just really not big into, unless I somehow have the money to go into a pit in a stadium, I don't really want to do a stadium show. I think stadium shows are kind of crazy.
I can't blame you.
I'm okay with amphitheaters. I'm okay with outdoor concerts. I just don't care for stadium shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the fact that you're in a seat so distant from the band, especially since, local shows are so used to, oh my God, I can touch the drummer's dick from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, did I actually...
you know what I mean? So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, speaking of touching drummers, did you see that I got a drumstick from Bad Religion, the last show that I went to?
I did.
Yeah, that was so sick. I was so happy about that. I'm going to frame it on my wall. I sleep with that fucking drumstick.
Actually, about drumsticks, I just recently saw Hippie Death Cult, which they're... I've been getting heavily into the stoner rock scene, and probably... stoner rock is probably... really, stoner doom and whatever. Bands like Sleep, Hippie Death Cult, Caius, along that vein. That's like a genre that I've been able to identify with as of late.
Right.
Frickin', since I hang out with Hippie Death Cult, and get a chat with them about, every time I go see them, the drummer actually signed some drumsticks for me and just gave them to me. Super cool dudes. I recommend Hippie Death Cult any day of the fucking week. Psychedelic doom.
I didn't mention this when we were talking about this before we started the episode, but
go ahead.
I have listened to Hippie Death Cult because you've showed them to me.
Oh, really? What do you think of them?
I liked them. We I don't know if you remember this, but we had a whole discussion about this like over a year ago, where you were introducing them to me. I like their stuff. I think it's really good. I think it'd probably be cool to do one of their albums on here at one time.
If that happens, let a brother know I'm there.
But
I haven't heard any of their stuff, so that'll be a neat episode.
Well, we all know what Caesar thinks, but I will say, yeah, it's worth listening to. They're really good.
Okay.
Well, and that's the thing. A little bit of background on them. Their lead guitarist, his name is Eddie. Super, super down to earth dude. Really super talented. Other than the fact that he's pretty much the driving force in Hippie Death Cult, he does quite a bit of their video editing and photography. he got his foot in the door with remember when Slash split off from Guns N' Roses in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and then did Slash's Snake Pit?
Yeah.
So when that happened, I forget the name of the vocalist for Slash's Snake Pit, but the lead vocalist from Slash's Snake Pit and Eddie from Hippie Death Cult formed a band, and that was, if I remember correctly, that was Eddie's first professional release.
Damn.
Yeah. These guys are the real fucking deal. They're not just playing around. Their debut record, 111. I don't care how you fucking pronounce it. They, if I remember correctly, that got a review in Rolling Stone, and that's their debut record. They're the real fucking deal. Quit playing with me. You're gonna love them.
All right.
This whole episode is just really turning into like a product pitch for Hippie Death Cult. That's really what this is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now I'm done chilling with Hippie Death Cult. We're on about Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah, we're here for Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah. Okay. So we can. Now that everybody's all introduced and
I'm a little stressed right now.
it's already getting really drunk from your buzzball. Now that we're all introduced and starting to get a little liquored up, we can go ahead and jump into the album review. So I think we should do this. We'll go ahead and go over our opinions of the album overall, and then we'll jump into our opinions on each individual song. I'll probably go ahead and go first. My opinion on this one was it was very back and forth. I think about every track that I listened to, I jumped back and forth on opinions. I would have a song that I would really, really like, and then the next one, it was not so great, too forgettable. I definitely liked a lot of the parts. This maybe sounds a little gatekeepy of me, but I think my favorite parts were the stuff that sounded like classic Bring Me the Horizon. Back in their old, metalcore roots in the early 2000s. I think a lot of that stuff was better. I leaned a lot more towards the thrashier songs on the album and the parts with heavier riffage. There is a lot of electronic beats in this album that I really didn't care for. There are some metal and metalcore artists now that have introduced a lot of electronic beats into their music that I really liked. I'm really biased in this band, Devin will know. But a great example for that, for me, is Avenged Sevenfold. They've done a lot of electronic stuff on their last album, and that was stuff that I liked. This one was more of an example of stuff that I really didn't care for on that side. Some of this stuff would go so far into the electronic side that parts of it almost felt like trap or house music, which really isn't particularly my thing. I know that a lot of Bring Me the Horizon fans really dug this album, though, because they've been leaning hardcore into this sound probably within like the last few albums. It's like I was mentioning earlier, they did a song with Baby Metal a few years ago, and that was heavily electronic. That being said, I really like that song. That song is really sick. Yeah, I think this album had a lot of examples of electronic beats that I didn't care for. But again, on the flip side, some of the stuff that sounded really nostalgic and the heavier riffage, the thrashy points, I really did like. So it was pretty middle of the road, and there were some songs that I definitely saved that I will listen to later, and then some stuff that I most likely will never listen to again.
Real.
Yeah. I think you and I have a very similar opinion about this album. I loved the idea. Okay, the album was almost concept-y.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs seemed very related. It seemed and I loved the idea, but I also hated the electronic sound.
Yeah.
And I do know that Bring Me the Horizon, that's almost kind of their thing. And I guess that's why I never was a huge fan of them, like back in the day. Very similar to now. and I don't know. It was good. There was definitely songs, kind of like you said. It was very back and forth. Where like I would hear a song and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome," and then like 2 minutes in, I'll be like, "All right, what the hell am I listening to?" You know what I mean? It was.
Oh yeah.
It's very like, oh, okay, I'm digging this, and then it was like, what happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all in all, it was fairly decent, I think.
Yeah, I think I actually will kind of double down on your point of it almost sounding like a concept record. I did actually like the whole like dystopian future-esque vibe that they had going on.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me a lot of, if you ever really listened to them, Starset. A lot of the stuff that they would do. I went to a Starset concert once where they had this whole bit going along the whole show where it was like they were experiencing technical difficulties with the LEDs, the screens, and the lights and everything. But what was really happening was an AI was taking over the show. The whole show was a big bit for that. And it was actually really cool when the whole reveal for that came at the end of the show. It's like, oh, it's artificial intelligence. We live in a simulation, all deals like that. So I kind of got those vibes from the album. And with that, I love those like dystopian future vibes, and I think that this album could have been really amazing with that kind of vibe and concept to it, but it just kind of didn't hit that for me.
Yeah.
Well, truthfully, it sounds like we're all on the same page. As someone who is, man, I gotta be honest with you, keep it $1.50 with you. I went through like a small Skrillex phase when I was like 14 for like 3 months. I think if I was 14, I would have really liked this album.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a lot of conversations like that throughout this album, where it's like, if I was in middle school, I would have liked this.
I would have loved this song / yes, 100%.
Yeah, man, if my ass was wearing an astrology hoodie with an emoji flat bill, I would have loved this shit. Yeah, no, but that's the thing is, you know, coming from I really don't care for electronic music background, to hear just like some amazing harsh vocals, to just, you know, with a nasty riff going in the background, to just hearing just like a glitch effect. I'm like, damn, y'all really screwed the pooch on that one. You know what I mean?
Kind of blue balls you a little bit.
A little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I felt like that. As much as I love concept albums, you know, such as Melancholy and Infinite Sadness by the Pumpkins, or even longer projects that are trying to do the same thing, kind of like Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. As much as I love that shit, it's like I felt lost on this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, I think mostly it was just because I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that, oh, this is electronic shit is just a part of their style, because I'm going to keep it $1.50. I've never listened to these guys before.
Yeah.
And so when y'all hit me with this, I was like, okay, you know, like I have no problem opening up my horizons, no pun intended. And, you know, and trying some new shit. But when I heard this, all I could think about is that one song that they wrote that's just been memed as shit. Like, can you feel my heart?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's all I could think about when I was listening to this album. So I just could not take this album seriously from a listener perspective. Not only because of the fact that it's been memed as shit, but just the fact that I just don't like electronic music.
Yeah.
I've definitely had some experience with them. I listened to them a lot in middle school, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say a lot, but, you know, with albums like That's the Spirit and Suicide Season, like I've definitely heard them. So I kind of knew what to expect coming into it, but it was just, it's different than that.
It is. It's
okay.
It's very different. I think like so I have something similar to Devin. Is I listen to That's the Spirit. I really love that album.
Mm-hmm.
that is an album that if you don't like this and you kind of feel like this is just Bring Me the Horizon, this is kind of all they've ever done, go listen to albums like That's a Spirit and Suicide Season. Those are actually really, really great records, and I think that
Okay.
I don't want to say like better emphasizes what Bring Me the Horizon is, because obviously the band is going through an evolution like a lot of other bands go through, but I would say I personally really dug that part of the history of the band. I think those albums are really good, and they also lack all the electronic portions. So I mean, imagine like the heavier portions of this album minus all the electronics, and that's probably those two albums.
Oh well, you know what? If this album was like that, I'd be like, okay, this isn't what I would listen to, but I'd still like this, But honestly, like, as much as I want to have like a positive thing about this record or like a positive takeaway, I'm like, bro, I need to take a bath. Like, I just spent 3 hours in the back of a Claire's. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, to each their own. I can't wait till we fully break down.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't. I will go on record to say I certainly don't think the record was bad, and I can see why. I can see why it's liked. I definitely will chalk this whole album up to this is really just it's either your cup of tea or it isn't. If this is just kind of the type of music you like, then cool. I definitely won't say that it's a bad album. I don't think the production was bad on it. I don't think the instrumentals were bad. I don't think the vocals were bad. I think it just simply wasn't something I really dug.
Yeah.
Amen. And within context, I think if I were a Bring Me the Horizon fan, just knowing what little I do know about this band, I think this album would be phenomenal. Yeah. And just like you mentioned earlier, I know a couple of Bring Me the Horizon fans that have just been nonstop about this record. So, within that context, like, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, this album sounds like it kicks ass, but to like a Bring Me the Horizon fan.
Yeah.
Which I'm not.
Yeah. It's this was also
stop me from
a little minor detail too. This was also a surprise drop too. They didn't advertise this album at all. They just dropped it. Which I think was actually kind of cool. I like when bands do that personally. I think a lot of times when really big bands, because Bring Me the Horizon is big now. Like, they kind of over the last few years have just now turned into a headlining act. Like, they headlined Download Festival for the first time pretty recently. I don't personally really like it when big bands will like heavily advertise an album. And the only reason that I don't is just because to me it a lot of times feels like almost the record label's decision to like really pump as much money and make it feel as corporate as they possibly can. So I kind of do like it when bands just take the initiative and just be like, no, here's the music. I think I like when bands decide to do that.
I can definitely see where you're coming from on that because, as opposed to having to rely on flashy advertising, that really allows the band to give the chance to the listener and be like, okay, I need you to decide whether you like this album or not and spread it via word of mouth, which word of mouth is going to be 100 times more potent of an advertising thing than just some fancy video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, than anything you put on social media,
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think a good example of this recently was Green Day's new album, Saviors. I personally actually really liked that album, but they're a great example of what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think they're a good example of that way too heavy of advertising. Holy shit. For like 3 months, dude, it was just Saviors this, Saviors that. Like, dude, they pumped the hell out of the advertising on that album. And like I'm a huge Green Day fan. I loved the album and I love Green Day. But how heavily that was advertised almost made me not want to listen to the fucking album. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up about the album. I'll listen to it when it comes out, but stop talking about it.
It stayed on the homepage of my Spotify for, like you said, several months.
Yeah, it was just
heavy.
And that was all the label. That has nothing to do with the band. It's just they just want to.
To be fair though, it was an amazing album.
Yeah, I
like,
did.
They had the oomph behind it to back up the hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did. I liked the album. I just thought that was a good example of like the negative advertising, for sure. But
okay, I see where you're coming from.
I just wanted to be noted.
I didn't even know that Green Day dropped a new album.
That's good. Maybe we'll do it for an episode or something.
I just wanted to be noted. This pineapple jalapeno is god awful.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
The more I'm drinking it, the more I hate it.
Yeah. That being said, if we're
in peace, Devin.
Yeah, if we're already about through our one drink, maybe we should probably get into the individual song rankings before we're too incoherent to do so.
Yeah, I have like one sip left.
Yeah, and I still have 2 more buzzballs.
Power through it.
Yeah, I have 2 more buzzballs after this to still get through. So
I have this little margarita drink that I have with me.
How big is it?
There were no other buzzballs.
Yeah. Do you just have one buzzball?
I only had one buzzball. I that shit is history.
Oh.
Let's see. With this margarita drink, it's just 200 milliliters. I've been sipping it as we've been talking.
Yeah.
Pardon the screaming baby in the background. I hope to God you guys can't hear that.
No, I cannot hear a screaming baby at all.
It's actually just horrible. Anyway, but this margarita's not bad.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think Devin and I are a little on the negative side here. Although I'm kind of looking forward to the strawberry one. I think the strawberry one looks promising.
I mean, I'm feeling a bit toasty.
Yeah.
So it's doing its job.
Yeah. Oh, it's the liquor's liquoring.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
All right, but how do you guys feel about starting to talk about these songs?
Before we get to that, I would like to point out one thing that I do think is also really cool about this album.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
This is technically the second album in a saga that they have going. Mm-hmm. See, their previous album in 2020 was post-human survival horror.
I did notice that, actually, yeah.
Yes.
Really?
I did not listen to the previous album, so maybe it would have given like more context to the story, of the concept of this album. But I just felt like that was a neat thing to point out.
Post-human survival. That's actually Caesar. That is the album that the song they did with Baby Metal's off of.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I have heard a song from that album. But yeah, you're right. I did kind of forget that they have that. They have some pretty cool features on that one too. They actually they have Youngblood on that too. That's interesting. It was something that I was that we'll touch on more when we go through it. But I was telling Caesar about it. Is one thing I really will give Bring Me the Horizon in general, and not just this album, is they have some really unique features on their songs. They bring some cool people to just douche. I mean, Baby Metal, Aurora, Under Oath, Little Uzi, shit like that. It's like that's really cool.
Big props to these guys for getting people to come out and like making things interesting and doing collabs like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start. So I was kind of going over that we probably will still talk about the transitional tracks, although those, since they are OSTs and they don't have vocals, they probably won't be ranked as higher as the normal songs, but for the sake of it, we won't ignore them. We'll still talk about them. The first one, Dream Seeker, which is the introduction to the album. I mean, I thought that it was interesting. There's really not much.
There's not a lot there.
No, there's not enough that goes into it. It's just, it does do a decent job of setting up the atmosphere. It's like the slow building of the footsteps throughout the song, and then the transition into the first song. But that's about the only thing that Dream Seeker does, is it just serves as the transition into the first song.
I mean, it's 19 seconds long. I mean, there's not too much.
Yeah, there's not much you can do
about
in
it.
that
Yeah.
time.
No.
Yeah.
But I will say that
It's definitely a cool transition into the first song.
yes, it actually transitions perfectly into the next song, which is what I was going to mention. So for like about the sake, for me personally, I probably will put that. I'll still give it about a 3, maybe like 3 out of 10 for that, just because I think that it did a really good job of transitioning into the first song. I think if you listen to the song the first song by itself versus with this transitional track, I think the transitional track builds upon what the first song does. I think it makes it better.
It enhances, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure.
And I have nothing to hate against it. You know, I have nothing that I really like and overwhelmingly like love about it. So, I mean, I feel like I have to go dead center 5, middle of the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. I would put it as like a, yeah. I don't know. You know, I would probably have to go with no on this one. It would just, just a 3, just because, just to acknowledge that the track is there.
Yeah.
And that it set up the atmosphere, but it didn't really it didn't apply too much of anything to the overall record. I mean, like, yeah, it set up the atmosphere, but that's like pretty much it. It didn't like change anything.
Yeah. I think like the theme with this one and the other, I believe there's 2 more OSTs on the album. Yeah, there's 2 more. I think with all of them, they do kind of add to what Devin was saying in making it feel more like a concept record rather than just song by song. So I do believe it helps to serve to that point as well. I do think overall the transitional tracks do make it better than as if they weren't there at all.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay, so the next one, Utopia, the first song on the record. I thought this one was decent. This one was a pretty middle of the road track for me still. I do think it was like a great introduction to the album. I think I say middle road in the sense of it really does stick in between the 2 types of genres that are really in this album, which is the thrash metal and the electronic. It really does stay right between them. It doesn't really dive too much into either side. It just rides the line. Mm-hmm. And I think it does a good job of preparing you for what the rest of the album is going to sound like.
Yeah, introducing you to kind of both things that's going on there. And this is definitely one of the big ones where I was like, oh man, this is really sick. And then it was also like, okay, well, this is completely different than what was going on a couple seconds ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a fun little thing that like kind of clicked in my head, if you go back and listen to the first couple seconds of it, it sounds like the guitar riff to Girl That I Can Train, Blink-182.
I could see that.
Yeah. If you go back and listen to it, for some reason, like as soon as I heard it, I was like, is this Girl That I Can Train?
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just autistic.
Maybe I'm just putting connections that aren't there.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I didn't rank it. I think it was pretty good. I feel like I can't hate on it. I would want to do like I feel like I can't give it more than like a 7. So let's go like 6.
I think that's right about where I was gonna stay with that too. Was put it at a 6. It's like it's pretty decent. If it comes on, I'm not turning it off, but I'm probably not gonna seek it out either.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah.
So what I liked about it was the first couple of seconds was I found it interesting that there was such a dynamic contrast between like the intro guitar riff, low key, the way that they had the effect on the guitar, it reminded me of some dream pop shoegaze shit that I would hear down in Salt Lake at Kilby Court, right? And it was just interesting the way that there was such a dynamic contrast between the intro riff and the way that the song was structured. You know, the way that it would flip between the guitar heavier parts and the electro pop, but it wasn't overly, the electronic stuff wasn't overly irritating for me,
Right.
which is saying quite a bit, low key, because I absolutely hate electronic music.
Yeah.
And so for me to be like, okay, like, this isn't bad. Like, it isn't just, it isn't making me like want to stuff my ears full of cotton or anything like that. I'm over here just chilling, just kind of, like, okay, this isn't bad. And it was just an interesting contrast, which wasn't bad, and because of the fact that it didn't make me want to claw my ears out at the electronic parts, I'm probably going to score it a little higher, probably score it at like a 6, around the same area that you guys were going for. Just because the song wasn't like exemplary, but at the same time, I'm like, this wasn't horrible. It exceeded the expectations that I had for the song and for the group themselves, that I had.
Yeah.
So because low-key, the only way that I've been introduced to Bring Me the Horizon is just the "Can You Feel My Heart" shit post.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was expecting to hear. I mean, which I did hear on this album, but like, it wasn't, for this song specifically, it wasn't overly horrible. So I'm going to score it at a 6 out of 10.
Okay, we're all about the same place
So
with
we're
this
all
one.
kind of on the same page there.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a pretty decent opening track. I mean, it was pretty decent. I didn't mind it. I do. It was what killed it for me though. What will bring it down from like something I would normally listen to decent is what you're talking about with like the just random switch to the more electronic portion. Like it has a pretty steady sound for about half of the song, and then just out of nowhere it just dumbs down to this like really melancholy electronic beat just out of nowhere. Like it was just such a quick key change, and it's really jarring. Honestly, is probably the word for it. It just happened out of nowhere. There was no build up. It's just suddenly it's a different song, and it really does take a second. It's like, did it end? Am I listening to a different song?
Is this the next track?
Yeah. And I felt that way a lot throughout this album. That's definitely not the first time that I'll bring up that point, but that specifically is probably what killed this song a little bit for me. If that portion wasn't in there, I think the song would be a bit higher.
For sure. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Now, the next one though, Kool-Aid. I'm a little bit more excited to talk about this one.
Yeah.
Because
this is one of their big single off the album.
Yeah, there were two singles off this, I believe. It was Kool-Aid and Strangers, which Strangers we'll get to later. But Kool-Aid, yeah, this one is certainly a contender for one of my favorites on the album. It is probably going to be something that I actually do come back to off of this album. This is what I was talking about liking about this. Like, it kind of leans more towards going back to Bring Me the Horizon's classic stuff, which I kind of beat myself up about thinking that way because I have always been a avid supporter about bands evolving their sound. I always want bands to try something new and venture off into shit they haven't done. I've always had the mindset of I want a band to release something new even if I don't like it, because at least they did something new. If I'm listening to... I watched an interview with M. Shadows once, and he kind of said it perfectly. He's like, if I go back and listen to a classic album of a band I like, and then they come back today and they release something that sounds absolutely identical, I almost feel ripped off. Because it's like, if I want to go listen to that classic stuff, I'll go listen to the classic stuff. It doesn't go anywhere. It's like, it's good for everybody listening to hear something new, and it's good for the band themselves because they get to be what they are, and that's artists, and try something new. and maybe it doesn't land, and maybe it does, but at least they're doing what they do and doing something new.
For sure.
But with all
never
that
thought about it that way.
yeah, with all of that being said, I'm going against what I think in that, and the only parts about this album that I like are the stuff that sounds like old Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that necessarily has to do with hating the evolution of the band. I think that just has to do with style and background and what you enjoy.
right.
That doesn't mean that we're bringing down the rest of the album, because, you know, good on them for doing things, and people really love it. But it's just not necessarily
It's
my
not
cup
our
of tea.
thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. But with Kool-Aid, honestly, this was it was just sick. You know, this was another great transition from the last song to this one. It's just perfect. Honestly, I'll probably just cut it down and say this whole album is actually chock full of amazing transitions before songs. They killed it with the transitions. It makes the whole album sound like it's almost one song. You can listen through the whole thing and it doesn't feel like you just changed tracks. It just kind of seamlessly goes through them. And I think that's really great. But yeah, this was honestly this was great. This was just a fun, thrashy song. Definitely something that's very easy to just turn on and just scream along to. It definitely has some of the best screams on the album. There are some other songs that do, but this one definitely shows that Ollie Sykes can absolutely still scream. He hasn't lost his touch as a vocalist at all. He's still perfect, honestly. He hasn't changed at all. The solo also at the end was sick. The solo and the breakdown was awesome. This was definitely a great song for me. It still does kind of come down a little bit. There are still some of the electronic undertones that the rest of the album has. I don't think it's overbearing and ruins it, but it's still kind of present, and it does bring it down just like a little bit of a tick for me, because it does make it sound a little bit kind of what you were mentioning earlier, Caesar, with new metalcore albums sounding very like compressed and fabricated almost. So I think that kind of bleeds a little bit into this song, as it does the whole album, but some songs are worse than others. But for this one, overall, I think it was a great song, and for me, I think it's probably about like an 8 out of 10 for me personally. It was great, and I definitely will come back to it.
Yeah. I think you said a lot of what we're all going to say about this track. I mean, this was a great track, right? And the guitar solo, about 2:30 in, you know? Oh my goodness, it was insane. But the screams, and just this really draws into like the kind of the classic thrash metal that I, you know, like live with. So, I mean, this is definitely by far my favorite track on the album, I think. Well, I say by far. I don't know. We'll get to it. But
there are some other ones on here, yeah.
It was definitely one of my favorites on the album. I mean, I don't think there's too much to say about it. I want to give it a 9, honestly.
Ooh. Ah, there you go.
It was really good.
I do think the chorus is kind of funny, though.
Yeah.
Drank the Kool-Aid by the jug. I do think that was funny. Not in a bad way, but
you were definitely right about the electronic like elements of it. And although I wasn't the biggest fan, and I am not the biggest fan of those kind of songs, you know what I mean, or even that like type of genre, I still it was doing it for me. So
right.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Right on, man. Sweet. Well, so honestly, I feel like we're all kind of saying the same thing. You know, so I was just really surprised and taken aback by how just heavy and good his harsh vocals were at around 105. Like, that took me aback because, you know, from Utopia, I was like, okay, like, this man can sing. Like, this dude has it, right? and then just his harsh vocals really just kind of sealed the deal on what kind of a versatile vocalist this guy is. And as a vocalist myself, that's what I tend to listen for in music. If the vocalist is good, I'm probably all for it, you know? And so, you know, obviously that doesn't apply to the rest of the song itself, but that's what makes a song listenable for me, right? And so to reinforce what you guys had already said, the breakdown, specifically at 217, was just absolutely nuts. Like, I could see myself losing my shit in a pit. But the electronic effects during it, I was like, come on, bro. Like, y'all really need to put that shit in there? Like, just let me enjoy the breakdown for what it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt that the electronic aspects of the music really takes away from the heaviness of it. Like, if they didn't have this shit would be heavy. Like, let's keep
It would be a
$1.50
much heavier
with you.
song. You're right.
Amen on that. Now, as a means of ranking this song, just because of how, you know, littered the electronic effects were throughout the parts that I really vibed with, I gotta kind of bump it down. You know, I'm thinking like a 6.5, 7.5 is being generous. So I'm just gonna go for a sweet spot and call it a 7.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair.
Well,
I think that is a fair
Yeah.
ranking for that one.
I can hear that. I can hear that, honestly. But
I think next time maybe a less electronic album might be in store for us.
oh yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is because of, you know, you guys telling me, you know, hey, their earlier stuff is a lot more reminiscent of the heavy stuff in this record. You know, it's just kind of pushing me to go listen to their heavier earlier stuff. So I mean, it's not the worst thing, but like you said, Noah, you know, the great part about musicians is the opportunity to evolve as you progress and as you make your art. And so to kind of have to go back to what a musician originally did to enjoy their shit is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the same time, I'm glad that people are enjoying it. So I'm going to stick at a 7 for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the next one.
Before we start, I'm gonna start cracking open my second buzzball.
Oh
here.
God. Okay, let me finish mine real quick, and
Come
I
on.
have like a sip left. Give me a break. I will break up on the next one with you. Hold on, cause I really don't want to try it. I'm gonna do the strawberry Rita first, just so I can avoid the jalapeno. The pineapple jalapeno.
Oh, man, you're saving the worst for last?
I don't want to drink it. I know I'm gonna hate it. I'm avoiding
I
it.
also have a strawberry Rita, so I will.
Oh,
be
you're trying with
opening
me.
that
Okay,
you.
cool.
So
So
we can be trying the same flavor at the same time.
yeah, we get to make
Right on.
multiple toastiness rankings right now.
Oh yeah.
All right. Wow, that is. You smell that? That's strawberry.
Wow, it tastes strawberry.
Does it? Oh. Wow, that's worse. Sick.
So mine.
Why
is
you
made
hate
with-
that shit?
Why are buzzballs so terrible? These are fucking awful. I mean, why are buzzballs so popular? I mean, these are fucking awful. These are all over. I see people drinking these all the time. This is terrible.
Mine's not bad, actually.
I don't
Mine's
like
the chiller, and it's made with agave wine. And
Okay.
I taste the agave. Like, I think it's actually pretty good. This one's way better than the one I just had.
I'm not a fan. So this one's definitely going to be a little lower on the toastiness scale for me. This one, what was I gave the last one 5, right? So I'm going to give this one a 3. I'm not feeling it. This is worse than the last one. I would take the Rita
Wow.
over this one.
Wow.
Damn.
No, I'm not a fan.
Well, maybe it's the wine, or maybe it's the fact that I'm already one buzzball deep. But this is much better. This is much, much better than what I did just have.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm going to be seeking this out. Maybe if I'm trying to get fucked up, I'll chug a couple of these. But I don't know. I'll give it a 7. I think the
Damn,
agave
really?
wine is doing something for me. Yeah, this is pretty good.
Oh, God, you would like it.
Oh my goodness.
This guy drinks.
What do you mean by
This guy drinks PBR. All right, I'm not gonna take
whoa.
alcohol
Like
opinions
a
on
true
you.
punk.
Hey, shut up! I don't need you also
you're
liking.
a punk.
No, I don't need
Drink
you
PBR.
also liking PBR.
Like a true punk. No, I don't like PBR, but I just drink it because it's at shows. Come on.
I mean, it is everywhere. You know, we went to see. We'll delve off topic for a little bit. Devin and I went to go see August Burns Red, and he bought a PBR shirt that's branded by August Burns. Like it's in August Burns Red's design.
Yeah.
They're sponsored by
cool.
PBR, and I do think that's awesome. I hate PBR, but that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
It is a great shirt.
Honestly,
PBR is real big in the scene, and they support a bunch of small bands and stuff like that. So
I will.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
I will actually.
WPBR.
Yeah, I will actually go with you on that. I'm not a fan of the drink, but the company, yes. I do love how they support the scene. I do think that is awesome. So
I just genuinely like the
solidarity.
beer.
yeah, so
I just
PBR,
genuinely like the beer.
PBR, if you're listening, you're doing really great things in the scene, but please fucking make better beer.
No, it's great.
No, it's
Fuck
terrible.
Don't
PBR, I hope you know that Devin and I love you.
No,
Hell
make
yeah.
better drinks so I can also love you.
Actually, on that topic, the next choice that I get, PBR makes a coffee,
Oh God.
an alcoholic coffee, and that is going to be my next choice. I've heard only phenomenal things about this coffee, so
Oh, wonderful! I can't wait to hate it.
yeah.
I'm one of these times just for payback. I'm gonna make everybody come in here drink Guinness.
Do you know that
That's
PBR makes a
horrible.
whiskey?
Okay, that's cool. Actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's actually called a technically whiskey. To be called a whiskey, you have to be aged in a barrel,
Yeah.
and they aged their whiskey for 5 minutes. So
5 minutes.
Yes, it's a clear whiskey.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that. That is cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I would like to try that at some point too, but I think that you'd have to like special order that online, and I wouldn't want you guys to like fucking
Maybe
have to deal with that.
maybe for a future episode. Maybe we'll
Yeah,
maybe
if
for
we're
like an-
together.
yeah. That'd be cool actually. Like
Mhm.
later on we can do like an in-person episode. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it'd also be really cool to-
thinking about that earlier. I was like, for like episode 100, we should do an in-person episode.
Yeah.
That'd be
Abs-
cool.
I agree. All right, that being said, to the next song, now that we've opened
Yeah.
our next buzzball. So,
Sweet.
first off, I love the title for the song. I actually think it's sick. Top 10 statues that cried blood. Again, I hate I hate the formatting, but I do love the name. I think that's a really cool name. That's very like Weeping Angels from Doctor Who.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's just kind of what that makes me think of. Is just like Weeping Angels. That's just kind of what I envision. And to me, Weeping Angels are just metal as fuck.
Real.
Yeah. That being said, cool title, not a great song. So, this one was another one that was kind of very middle of the road. The first half of the song is really hit or miss for me. I think it goes in between me liking it and me not liking it. I gave it a couple listens and I kind of just couldn't really get behind it. There was a breakdown that's in the second half that was really sick. It was really sick and really unique. It's one of those breakdowns where it's like, I haven't heard that before. That's really cool. They have a lot of those in this album. They have really unique breakdowns, which I think is definitely something to be said for this album. They have some sick breakdowns. And then after that, I mean, I would say, yeah, I think the second half of the song came in a little stronger for me. I think the lyrics are
as most of the songs in this album, kind of just a little too cringy for me. I think if I ignore the lyrics, I'm probably a little better off.
Fucking real.
Um,
Fucking real.
Now I will say that I did. We keep saying how we dislike the electronic portions of this. There is these like little electronic beeps that kind of happen in the background throughout this song, and not gonna lie, I actually kind of dug that. I don't know what it was about it that kind of scratched an itch for me, but I actually did kind of like it. I didn't mind it. This song, to me, I guess minus the electronic portions maybe, was very reminiscent of a Beartooth song, if you've ever really listened to Beartooth.
Oh, yeah. I can hear that.
I kind of really felt that way with this one, which Beartooth would be a really interesting one for us to go into. They make some weird shit now too. They're kind of following a similar thing where they're really dramatically changing their sound. But that's a discussion for another time. So yeah, this one was a little middle of the road for me. I probably will give this one a 5 out of 10. I didn't hate it, but it's again another one of those songs that I probably won't go back and listen to.
Yeah, so for me, this song was not good. Just kind of all around, not my favorite thing in the world. You brought up the lyrics being cringy. I would like to re-emphasize that point. And I'm going to read a couple of lyrics here that are really great.
Yeah, go ahead. Hit us with it.
Let's see. The scars have cut too deep, and no amount of love could set us free. And then there was another line up here. Yeah, someone put a gun straight to our hearts and paint the walls with our love. Like that's so...
Yeah, that is a little.
That is so. Like we said this kind of in the intro, but if I was in middle school, I would think that was very deep and very meaningful, and I would love those lyrics. But that is so cringy. That is so cringy.
Another thing, again, to re-emphasize, though, probably do have to remember the kind of target audience for this as well. I think a lot of this is still geared towards people who are still in that stage of their life.
Yes, 100%.
You know, the high school and middle school stuff. And I don't say that as a bad thing at all. You know, the bands that I really loved in middle school and high school are the bands that got me through middle school and high school, the bands that I still love and hold very dear. So I definitely don't say that as a bad thing at all. But I do definitely
not.
Yeah, I definitely do think that is what this album and most of what the band does now is really geared towards. That's kind of the target audience.
I mean, like, there are bands like Pierce the Veil, right? I loved Pierce the Veil in middle school. If you go back and read some of their lyrics from Collide with the Sky, it's really cringy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it just straight up is. But that's just what I was listening to at the time, and it has stuck to my heart. And, you know, I still go back and listen to it now, even though it is cringy. At the time, it meant a lot. So I can understand how this can mean a lot to people in that stage in life. But in my current situation, this is a song that was hard to listen to.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, because of the content of the lyrics. Not necessarily because of the music or the production or anything. Like you said before, this album has great production. Like, I mean, phenomenal production. And the electronics, I guess, sound good, although it's not my cup of tea. Like, it's coherent, which is, you know. But yeah, this is one that I will not be coming back to.
Yeah.
I am 100% with you on that one. I will say this song was just bordering on unbearable for me to listen to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just read off a couple of notes that I have. So the breakdown was like really cool, but again, the electronic effects really took me out of the energy of the breakdown. And that's the thing is, just to provide a bit more context of where I'm coming from, I go to so many local shows where I will say a lot of the music is just solely reliant on breakdowns, which is kind of a turnoff for me. And so when I find a song that I, listen to and just kind of find particularly boring or doesn't fit what I want to hear in a song, sometimes I feel like I rely on the breakdown to kind of, okay, I like the energy of this song. Well,
Because
the
that's where you
electronic
come from.
effect took that out.
Right.
It really just took me out of that. And, kind of a positive note on the song, I will say, I did go through like a small emo phase when I was young. And so I was mostly into a band called Brand New. And I really liked the song, not a song, but their album called, I believe it's called The God and, sorry, not The God, but God and the Devil Are Raging Inside of Me. And I feel like the verse before the breakdown was pleasant melodically, but reminded me kind of that. And really just kind of reminded me of like the pop punk era that was 2016 and 2018, where it was just super heavy on, 21 Pilots was starting to become a real big thing in that scene around that time, and it kind of reminded me of that, kind of, just because the fact that it was a pop punk feel for me kind of brought me back to that Brand New album, which I'm certain I will refer to later on as we talk about some other songs.
Right.
But, it was kind of pleasant and nostalgic for me, that verse specifically. But other than that, man, the song is like a 4.8. Like, this shit sucked, but that verse carried the song.
Oh yeah, I forgot to rate it.
Damn, Dad, what are you doing?
I forgot the whole point of this, man.
No worries, brother. What's your rating on it?
I feel like I have to go even lower than that. I have to go like all the way to a 2.
Oh.
I can't blame you, brother.
Wow, killing it more
good.
than the transitional tracks.
It was not good. I would rather listen to the intro track. I feel like at least it had some sort of quality that was pleasant.
Yeah.
Damn.
I can see that.
Devin saw this track and just pissed on this shit.
I can see that. That's definitely valid. All right. So, the next one, Limousine. So, this one is another one that I really, really wanted to talk about, because this one is probably up there with Kool-Aid with me. I have a lot of really, really good things to say about this song. This is another one that was definitely saved to a playlist for sure. I will come back and listen to this. The transitions in this song are sick. I love the transitions between the verses and the chorus, going between like the heavy like sludge riff that kind of goes throughout this whole song to like those really melancholy riffs and verses that were in it. I thought that was really cool. I love like the atmospheric sound that goes through those parts of the song. And Aurora being a feature on this, I thought was really cool. I talked about that before, and the fact that they have a lot of really cool features that they usually have, but that's really neat because she's someone that is so far removed from metal, someone that you wouldn't think would be anywhere near something like this. So it's cool to see her in that, and she also has a really beautiful voice. My only real downside to this song was actually probably the end, because they start to go into a heavy breakdown and then they just kind of cut it off. I don't know if you know which part of it was really weird. Like it was like they were about to go into something really heavy and then it was like, nah. It was a build up without any resolution. It was really strange, and I did not like that part of the song. That was something I think
it kind of flows into the next song.
I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess a little bit, sure. But it is something that I feel like they could have just gone, like, a little ape shit with and kind of just really dug into it, and they didn't. And that's kind of what I wanted from the song. They introduced something that I would have really liked, and then it was like, nah.
You get a little blue ball.
Another time, in another album. You get this later. But all in all, I think this one is definitely another contender for one of my favorite tracks. I'm probably going to go and give this the same rating as Kool-Aid and give it an 8.
Yeah, this track, it was very good. It was definitely yet again one of the better ones on the album. It was very Deftones-esque.
Dude,
Yeah,
okay,
actually, you know what? I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Actually, go ahead, because I have more to say on that later.
And we were talking about kind of target audience, right? Deftones has recently seen a huge spike in popularity in mainstream media. You know what I mean? And even their older stuff, like their stuff from the 90s, are like becoming like popular with people who have no relation to music or metal really at all. And I think this song very much so caters to that crowd.
Right.
Yes.
Those people who are looking for that Deftones-esque. I think this was the song that was meant to pull in those people who aren't really into, music like this, to try and get them hooked on the rest of the album. Which, hey, I mean, good on them. I mean, I think it did the job. I love Deftones. I think this sounded like Deftones, I love Aurora being there. That was, hearing her there was pretty fucking kick ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That breakdown at the end, I heard that, and I remember I was getting excited. Like I got excited. I was like, oh, okay, this is about to be sick. And then all of a sudden it just stops like 5 seconds into this breakdown. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Definitely some blue balls there. I'm not going to rate it as high as Kool-Aid. But it was close. It was definitely close. I'm going to say I rated Kool-Aid a 9. I'll say 8.5.
Okay.
Because it was a great track.
Yeah. Okay.
Sweet. So this was actually my personal favorite off of this record. What I liked so much about it was the fact that the feature, I feel like just in general, with features in music, I feel like that they can sometimes really pull away from the original vision that the artist had for the song, or maybe the original feel. And I feel like Aurora didn't do that. Aurora actually not only added to the song, but blended very well with the song. And back to the Deftones thing, because the intro riff reminded me of the outro riff of Rosemary off of Deftones' Koi no Yokan album. The da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Dude, totally.
Yeah, I know the one.
Totally reminded me of Koi no Yokan. Damn, I can't pronounce that. And but just like what you two said, man, that breakdown was a turn off because the song was such a killer song. Like I was like, okay, like if Bring Me the Horizon was like this, man, I'd be a Bring Me the Horizons fan. But like the breakdown was just gonna lead into something awesome, and then it just didn't. And it kind of bummed me out, especially because the song beforehand was just a killer song. I can't talk enough about the song. The lyrics weren't overly edgy, like some of the rest of the album really suffers from. And I feel like just her voice, just phenomenal.
Right.
Just phenomenal. It had I'm not going to say it was like Lane Staley Jerry Cantrell, or like, I'm not gonna say it was like that level of blending, but it was pretty fucking close.
Good.
And
Yeah.
I vibed with it heavy.
Yeah.
I vibed with it heavy. Definitely, I think the strongest feature on the record for me. And saying that, I'm gonna rank the song at an 8.5 because that song was, that song was a very much an enjoyable listening experience for me.
Sick. I can absolutely agree. We definitely seem to have a very common opinion on this whole record so far. We're getting some pretty
Absolutely
similar rankings.
We all also do have similar backgrounds and similar tastes in music.
I mean, yeah,
So,
I can definitely see the relations for sure. Okay,
Yes.
so the next one. So Dark Side. This one, again, probably another very middle of the road track for me. I don't think there was really anything particular that really stuck out for me. The chorus was pretty catchy, I think. This was another one that I will say did kind of sound a little reminiscent of an old Bring Me the Horizon song. Although, that being said, it still wasn't particularly something that I really liked. I definitely didn't like it like I like old Bring Me the Horizon, but I could definitely see some of their classic influence in the song. Yeah, I don't really have anything super good or bad to really say about it at all. I think it's kind of a song that was just there on the record for me. So I'll probably still give it like a 4, maybe, just because with other ones that I've ranked lower, I could probably still name something that like I really did like about it. This one, not really. I think this one was just kind of completely forgettable for me.
Yeah, I think I have a very similar sentiment there. Like, this is a very forgettable track.
real.
Very forgettable track. And I do have to say, like, looking at the content of the lyrics as well, it's pretty rough. Like these lyrics here, hey, I'm begging you to stay. My dark side won today. My heart keeps breaking over and over. My dark side won today. Like,
That's badass, dude. Yeah.
He got that dog in him. The dog took over, No, it definitely reminds me of, like, the wolf people that are like, oh, my dark side's coming out, wearing fedoras, and you know what I mean?
I got 2
Oh
wolves in
God!
me.
Don't remind Noah and I of the fedoras.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! No, don't open that box.
We're not gonna bring that up. We're not gonna bring that up.
Let's not open that box. Maybe we'll talk about
Tell me
that.
about it, Devin.
We'll talk about. Oh, he knows. He knows. Maybe we'll talk about.
He knows?
Yeah,
Oh.
he knows. Maybe we should talk about that one if we ever review a fucking Michael Jackson album. But other than that,
Oh my God, I still have my fedora.
I don't. Mine's long gone, and I'm fucking glad it's gone.
I spilled milk on mine like in 5th grade.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that shit's... Oh, all right. But
Anyways,
Devin,
very forgettable track. The lyrics are kind of cringy, but yet again, we've discussed, like, I understand where the cringe in the lyric is coming from. If I was in 7th grade, I would have eaten this up. But I mean, where I currently sit, I mean, I'm gonna have to rank it at 4 as well. That's exactly what I was thinking. I think it's a little less than middle of the road, so that's
Real.
where I have to put that.
Wait, where was it that you put it?
4.
Oh, 4. Yeah, okay, so same one.
It's a little bit less than Dead Center, so.
well, for Dark Side, I'm probably gonna be around the same lines. 4, 4.5, maybe. I feel like 4.5 is being just a little bit generous. For me, I feel like the lyrical content again was moody, but it reminded me of Brand New's God and the Devil Are Raging Inside of Me album, albeit very, just not poetic, just like that. You know, kind of the opposite of Brand New's record. It's not a bad song. It's just not overly deep. I definitely feel that the actual catchiness of the melody is what the song, uses as a crutch for listenability for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
It fulfills its purpose of like being a moody song where, like, after my 8th grade girlfriend broke up with me, I'm in my room throwing shit around, flipping off the door. You know what I mean? Like, it fulfills that purpose, but other than that, I'm not gonna like listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
4.5 for sure. It's not the worst song on the record, but it's not a deep song. It's not a Jeff Buckley track or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll cry if we listen to some Jeff Buckley.
Don't put me
I
on.
have cried.
Oh, fucking love Jeff.
I have cried to Jeff Buckley. Jeff.
Yes.
I am a
for
Jeff
sure.
That sounds like a
Buckley
great.
stan.
Sounds like a great date. Jeff Buckley and some buzzballs.
Oh,
yeah.
no, it doesn't.
Jeff Buckley Buzzball. Let's go.
Jeff.
Buzzballs nevermore. Thank you.
Yeah. Jeff Buckley is spinning around in his fucking grave right now. Like hearing the word buzzball in his name in the same sentence.
Love that, man.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right,
Well-
so yeah, so the next one, again, I will go again and say that I think this was just another really forgettable track. This was another one that I probably could have, if I wasn't paying attention, I probably could have thought that Dark Side and this one was probably the same song. I really don't think they stuck out too differently from each other. I think they're both just kind of there. They're just in the middle of the album. You kind of just pass through them to get to the rest of the stuff that is kind of decent. It wasn't great. And I kind of actually did have a little high hopes for it because I saw Under Oath was featuring on it, and I thought that would have been pretty cool. That being said, I think the only part of the song that I liked was the part that Under Oath was in. They got a little heavier there. They had a nice breakdown with them. But that's about the only, like, positive that I can probably give this song. Everything else was, it was just really forgettable. Nothing too bad to say about it. Just there. So probably another 4 out of 10 for me. Probably the same as Dark Side.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those tracks where I was kind of turning my head, like, what the hell just happened? Like, I was listening, the start of this song, like the Bring Me the Horizon part is all electronic.
Yeah.
And there's parts where you're like I can't tell if that's a drum beat, like a legit drum beat in the back, or if that's some sort of electronic bullshit. Like, I legitimately couldn't tell what was going on, like, even musically in the song, and I just really hated it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Under Oath came in, and I loved Under Oath's part. You know, they got heavy all of a sudden, and it was like back to, like, I don't know, what I was used to, what I'm more familiar listening to. I loved their part, and like you said, I had high hopes seeing that Under Oath was featured in this song, and then for it to start off and sound so crappy, I was very disappointed. And then all of a sudden, it was like I'm doing a double take. Like, what the hell just happened to this song? Like, it's almost a completely different song.
Yeah.
It feels like. It sounds like some sort of EDM song and then an Under Oath song kind of smashed together.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very back and forth song for me. I think that the Under Oath part carried. I think it really carried. I want to give it a 6.
Okay. 6 was actually, that was probably a little bit higher than I thought you were going to go with that. But, yeah. Fair.
It was really the Under Oath part. That's what really did it for me, because the front half, that EDM, it was not good.
No,
not great.
Wasn't the move. I agree.
No.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm pretty much with y'all on that one. I feel like this song was a perfect example of all the shit that I dislike about this album. and um and you know, about all the stuff that I just dislike about this album, and just kind of cranked to a 10. And I'm like, not only is this song just kind of forgettable, but I'm like, if I see this song, I'm skipping it and banning it from the playlist type shit.
That's fair.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
giving
I can
this
understand
song
that. I
the
definitely
fucking
can.
X. Yeah. Fucking, I'm ranking this song a 2.5.
Oh man,
Fuck this song.
Ooh. That's brutal.
I
know. It gotta be like that.
I can totally relate to that though. I do think my 4 was still pretty generous. I'll keep it at a 4, but I do see why.
I see where you're coming from. I definitely do see where you're coming from. I did not like the EDM electronic music, but I just liked the Under Oath part so much.
Mhm. That's
like,
fair.
For me, it was just really doing it. So
You
I
know,
think
and as someone who
it
hasn't
gains-
listened to Under Oath before, you know, I can see where you're coming from on that one.
Under Oath's good.
Mhm.
Listen to some Under Oath. But
I'll check them out for sure.
But moving on to the next one. This is another transitional track, Spiritual. I thought this one was pretty cool.
Mhm.
I really like this. This is again a common theme with it. It really dug into the concept-y vibe of the whole album. It had like a really nice vibey guitar tone, and I liked the little background vocals that were kind of going on throughout it. It reminded me a lot of, if you know what Crosses is, it's a Chino Moreno's side project.
Mhm.
It's very cool. You should definitely listen to some of their stuff. It's I don't even know how to describe it. Just listen to it. It is Deftones-esque, but pretty different at the same time. But it really reminded
Okay.
me of one of those songs, and I really like Crosses, and I thought that was cool. I think it probably would have gone higher for me if it was actually longer and made into a full fleshed out song rather than just an OST. But all in all, I did like it. But purely because it's a transitional track, I still will probably give it about a 4. But I don't have anything negative to say about it. I do think it was actually really cool.
Yeah, this track was okay. It sounds like something that you would hear behind like an MGK beat. Like that's what it reminded me of.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan. I'll give it a. I mean, I don't feel like there's much to say here. You know, I'll
Mhm.
give it a 3.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd say 3.
Well, to keep it a buck and a half with y'all, I don't have much to add to that. Like Noah said, I did appreciate the guitar work and the atmosphere that it provided, but honestly, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I mean, it is just too short of a song for me to really appreciate the beauty that they were trying to go for. But with that being said, it is just supposed to be a transition for a, you know, just supposed to be a puzzle piece in the bigger picture. So, you know, for that being said, you know, I appreciate the beauty it provided in the moment. I'll give it a 4.5.
Okay. Cool. I can
Yeah.
I can see the 4.5. Now, that being said, a transitional track into NA.
I'm sober now.
Are you sober? Sounds like you need to go make a beer run for another buzz pop. I'm definitely not.
NA,
I need to
not
actually.
applicable.
Actually, you know what? Before we go into the next song, which I have plenty to say about the next song, let me tell you, I'm gonna finish the strawberry one so I can get on the jalapeno one, which I know I'll hate. Where are you at on your strawberry one, Devin?
I've probably got a quarter left. I've been kind of slacking on this one. I can't lie.
Ugh. I'm done with mine now. That was awful. I hated that.
Oh God. You trying to open another one?
Well, I'm about to. I'm gonna finish it. I gotta finish it
Shoot
now
it back,
because
Devin, come on.
I've gotta finish it now because if I don't finish it for this, I'm never gonna drink it because I know I'm gonna hate it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you will.
oh, I know I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna give.
Well, I'll finish my strawberry one as well,
Yeah, get
and
it
I'll
down.
move on to the lime.
The lime one
Cheers,
actually.
boys.
The lime one actually sounds like it'll be kind of decent. I like lime.
There we go. It's down.
Ugh. All right. So
Limerita.
I'm gonna take a sip of this, and I'm about to tell you how much I'm gonna fucking hate this.
All right.
Right on.
Holy shit! This is not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
No way.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's actually not bad.
Get out of here.
I thought it was gonna be terrible. I don't hate it at all. This is actually pretty
Oh
good.
my God.
This is I hate myself for saying this. This is 100% the best of the three.
Dude,
Are you
you're
serious?
just drunk. You're just drunk.
Maybe.
That's what it is. You can't
Maybe.
taste it.
Maybe, but I digress,
fuck.
motherfucker. This is pretty good.
You
You're
fucker.
crazy ass.
So what?
That
What?
shit was awful.
What was the last? So I gave the I gave the tequila a 5, right? And the strawberry was a 4. Bro, I'm gonna give this a 7.
Oh my-
Really?
I don't hate it. I would actually probably drink this, like normally.
You crazy ass.
I did. This
no
isn't.
way.
This isn't terrible. The name is disgusting. Pineapple jalapeno. That's awful. I think that's an instant deterrent for anybody wanting to try Buzzball. Not bad. I don't hate it. I guess I just like.
Okay, well, apparently, if you're going to get the Buzzball, the pineapple jalapeno flavor, do not get the chiller. Maybe it's the wine that's in it versus the liquor, but the wine was not the move. Mine was awful.
I've had worse. This isn't bad. Maybe I'm just
Burns
like
your throat.
maybe I'm just like accustomed to like the dog shit things in life, but you know,
Fair.
this is all right. It's not bad. Now talking about dog shit things, the next song.
Wait.
Hey,
For
what?
real.
What?
I've got the limerita to
Oh,
to-
you do. Okay. Actually, I didn't. I did get my rating. Actually, maybe I am drunk.
Yeah.
What's your rating?
The limerita, I don't think it was as good as the strawberry, and I think it was worse than the jalapeno. I did 7 for the strawberry. I think I did like a 3 for the jalapeno. I feel like I'm feeling a 5 for the
The lime.
limerita.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Again, I'm probably never gonna have another one.
Yeah.
But I'm not gagging
That's fair.
or cringing when I drink it. So, hey,
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
I haven't. Maybe I'll try the lime at some point. But anyway, to segue into the next song, this song really made me mad, NA, because
really?
this made me mad because I really wanted to like it. Let me explain. I love the instrumentals in this song. I think
Okay.
they're sick. I love the transitions between the light guitar that's in the beginning to the heavier riffage to the screams and going back and forth between all of that. I do think some of the screams in this are some of the best of the album. I think
Okay.
they're sick. I love the instrumentals in this. However, the lyrics are so bad. You want to talk about cringy lyrics of this whole thing? Oh my god, it's terrible. Hold
For
up.
real.
Let me bring up some of the lyrics from this one that I will go over. And Hold on while I figure out how to type when I'm half drunk. Alright. NA. Okay. So I think, like, conceptually, it's probably fine. Like, it's described as this is a song about the need to escape a mundane life, which I get. I think everybody feels like that from time to time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But, listen. These lyrics. Thinking I should drop dead, eat shit, go to hell, I could jump headfirst out the window, dark thoughts keep on filling up my mind, kinda wanna get fucked, make love to a chainsaw. Alright.
Yeah.
This is again another one of those songs where it's like, dude, if I was in middle school, this would have fucked. I would have been
for sure.
all over this song. This would have been like the most prolific, amazing, game-changing song for me. It was like, I'm so edgy, my life sucks, I'm terrible, my life's worse than all of you guys. Yeah, I want to make love to a chainsaw. Yeah, no, these lyrics are fucking terrible. I can't stand them. And that's what made me mad, because if those lyrics weren't so bad, this probably would have been one of my favorite songs on the album. Just because those
music is phenomenal.
Yes, because the instrumentals are sick. It is 100% just brought down by the lyrical aspect. I love the guitar and the transitions and the screams in this song. I think it's sick. But the lyrics, I just can't. And that's what absolutely kills it for me, is I probably will never go back and listen to the song just because of those lyrics. I can't take it seriously. You know, at this point, it's like, I'm gonna sound like so cynical and full of myself when I say this, but like, this is a bunch of like almost 40-something-year-old men writing these lyrics for this song.
Yeah, that we would have enjoyed in middle school.
Yeah, and it's like, I can get it, but like, it's, again, it goes back to, I do kind of gotta understand the type of audience that it's geared towards, but like, this is just like so far to that side of things that it's just like, okay, like, it's just bad. I just can't stand it. So I really, really hate to say it, but this one's probably a 2 out of 10 for me. And I hate that. I hate that so much because I love the instrumentals and I want it to be so much higher. But the lyrics kill it for me more than I can say. It just brings it down so far.
Yeah. I think we're very similar, but I'm gonna do it a bit higher. The instrumental and the music behind this song are phenomenal. This is a big switch up from everything that's come before it. It starts off real soft and like wanting to be like touching, you know what I mean? Wanting to be emotional. I don't think it hits that mark, but kind of like you said, it's like a bunch of 40-year-old guys writing songs for people who are in middle school. It's very Taylor Swift in that way.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift is almost a 40-year-old woman, and she writes songs for 16-year-old girls. And if you take a step back and you look at it, you become very aware of how like weird and cringe it all kind of is. But you're right. I think this was an amazing song musically, and I think I personally can stand the cringy lyrics a bit more than you can.
Yeah.
This is going to be a bit higher for me than you. I want to give it a 6.5, because I almost want to say 7, but I'm going to do 6.5.
Okay. That's still fair.
Yep. It could have been much better.
Yes, it 100% could have been so much better. This song
Yes.
physically makes me angry.
Put some real meaning behind these lyrics, and this is like a 9-10 out of 10 song. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Then we can talk. Then we can talk about it. Caesar,
Well,
I'm eager to hear your thoughts on this one.
I even wrote down in my notes kind of corny, low key, end quote.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I got kind of hyped at first because I was like, okay, it sounded like they sampled the Pixies at first, and then, I just feel like these lyrics were just so fucking bad. Like, I want to reiterate the fact that I think Ollie, or however you pronounce his name, I believe it's Ollie, right?
Yeah, his name's Ollie.
Okay.
Ollie Sykes.
Okay, Ollie. Yeah, Ollie Sykes. So I want to reiterate the fact that I think Ollie's a good vocalist, but these lyrics just kind of feel like they were wrote by, me if I saw Perks of Being a Wallflower in the 8th grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, this shit sucks. Like, I can't even just like, I'm just obviously going to reiterate what you guys said, but like, this is just actually bad.
Yeah.
Like, I feel that even if I were at that target audience age, I feel like even then I'd be like, wow, these are a bit on the nose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like even back then I was a bit more, looking for stuff that was a bit more deeper. You know, he's a good vocalist.
Oh, he's so good.
Like, my God, bro, pick up a thesaurus. Since my first note on it was literally kind of corny, low key, I'm gonna put it at like a 2.3. This shit just was ass.
Yeah, I 100% support it. That was I definitely ranked it lower because of how angry it made me. It's just.
I think I'm just able to put up with the corny lyrics more because I definitely used to be super, super into just corny stuff like that. And I'm almost able to like sympathize. And the music was just so good. Like, I feel like putting it that low is almost like a sin. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
it's hard. It would be hard, very hard for me to rank it that low.
I'll still level with you a little bit on that because, like, the stuff that they talk about in this song, it's not far away from how people actually think sometimes. I mean, people go through bad stuff in their lives and have really bad days, and they think thoughts similar to what's said in these songs, in this song. And it's like you said, I do actually kind of sympathize with it. I do agree. There are days like that where I will think things like that. So
I
it's
never
not,
want to make love to a
yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, my point is, I do get it. I do understand the meanage behind the song, and it's great they're talking about it, but it's just delivered in a very corny way. I think stuff like mental illness absolutely is something that's great to be talked about in music. I just think this wasn't a good example of how to do that. This just came off a little too edgy rather than it being prolific and insightful about mental illness.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. That being said, we can segue out of this one because this next one, Lost, actually, I think is on the other side of that. I think this one actually, I didn't like at first, but because I played this album like probably 2 or 3 times. This one, on probably the latter time that I listened to this album, it actually grew on me a bit more. This one, I think, is the opposite to NA in the sense of this song is about mental illness, but I think it speaks about it in a way that isn't super edgy and cringy. I think it talks about it in a very good way. It delivers it better. It delivers it in a more mature answer, I guess. This is still... It's still one of those examples of I wasn't a fan of the electric aspects of it, but it still had some riffage and heavier sides of it that I did kind of vibe with. To me, this one almost... I mentioned they did a feature with Baby Metal a few years ago. This one, honestly, if they were singing in Japanese, it would be a baby metal song. Like, it felt very baby metal to me. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I actually like baby metal. I think baby metal is actually pretty fun to listen to. But yeah, I mean, I think this one was just like the other side of NA. I think this one was about mental illness. I think they just went and talked about it in a much better way. So this one, honestly, I'll probably give a 7, personally.
Yeah, so I took the exact same note that this is the complete opposite of the song before, because this does have better lyrical content, but the music is corny as hell.
Yeah.
I hate the music. I can't stand it. And first listen, I skipped this song because it was just that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then upon second listen, I sat down and I read the lyrics and I got all the way through it. And there actually is some really interesting, like really actually meaningful stuff in here. I'm going to read some lyrics off here. Somebody tell me why I'm this way. The stupid medicine is not doing a thing. What the hell is fucking wrong with me? I guess there's no remedy. I'm so terribly lost. For some reason, those lyrics like resonated with me.
Yes.
And like a personal struggle, but they are hidden behind this absolutely awful electronic K-pop sound that I cannot stand.
Okay.
So I almost feel the opposite, where you rank this higher and you rank the last song low. I want to rank this song low, and the other one a bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
See, I want to do this. The lyrics definitely were a lot more meaningful than I think any song on the album. I want to do it a 4. I feel like that's all I can give it because the music just, I cannot get behind that.
That's fair. But I 100% do agree on the lyrical aspect and that line about medication. Because, like, that again, which is probably the reason why I like this song more, that is something that personally struck me. It's like, I have a lot of experience growing up and going in between medications and fighting with mental illness issues. Definitely. So that was something that personally just stuck out. Like, I heard that line and it immediately kind of leaned me more towards liking the song. I thought it was just a better way of handling those issues. And some of the lyrics are just better. It's like, this also dives into Ollie Sykes, who dealt with a lot of like really bad religious issues in his childhood. Like, the very first line is watching Evangelion with a big fat slug of ketamine. That's a really cool line, but that dives into, again, like religious trauma and shit like that. And then stuff like red crescent moons all over my hands. It's like stuff like that is really cool lines. But I will agree with the instrumentals. It's just like it does like the really electric side of this, and that really does boil down to preference. Again, I don't think it's bad. I don't think the production on it's bad. It's just
definitely not.
It's certainly just a preference thing of just don't dig the electronic side of this. But
if they would have put the kind of thought and feeling that they had in this song into the music of the last song, this would be a phenomenal, like if we could match the two together, it'd be a phenomenal song. Because like, I don't know, just a phenomenal song.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. Let's hear what Caesar has to say.
Yeah, please.
Sweet. With this song, I don't have a whole lot to say. I feel like the song isn't particularly overly special to me. It's catchy, I guess, but I find it generally annoying. And I think that for me personally, the chorus and the catchiness of the chorus is what saves it for me. What I do find interesting about this record is just the imagery that the lyrics do provide. Like going back to that first line that Noah was talking about sitting there watching how do you pronounce that show? I believe it's an anime, no? It's Evangelion.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, with the slab of ketamine, and for me, it's like who at one point was and borderline self-aware during that period of my life. For me, it was drinking beer in the shower and smoking half a pack of cigarettes while listening to Neil Young.
Dude,
I was self-aware.
that is a very relatable statement you just said. You don't know me very well, but I lived that life for sure for a couple of years.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
you just said Neil Young, and suddenly you're best friends with Devin. You have no idea what door you just opened.
Dude, drinking a PBR in the shower, smoking a pack of Marlboros when I got out, and then listening to Neil Young was like my life, dude.
The first line, just the self-awareness and the fact that, oh God, I'm a wasteoid, but there's not much I can do, was just super relatable for me. But past that, I'm like, the song was kind of mediocre for me, but I just feel like it comes from more of I don't really much care for this album standpoint, necessarily based on the integrity of the song itself. You understand?
Yeah. I think that's kind of sad because I feel like there's a real message here, and you actually have to dig through shit to find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of sad that the real message in the entire album, like the only like real touching part for me, is at the bottom of a pile of shit.
Yeah,
like it's just not.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, y'all cut out for a second there.
Dig through pile of shit to get to the actual meaning.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. I just kind of struggle with the whole. There's just not much for me to connect to this song,
Yeah, I think I think I'll go with what Devin and I were saying. I think lyrically, for me personally, there was a lot to connect to, but musically, no, it just wasn't. It killed it, which I think that's kind of what it kind of comes down to for the majority of this album. Which again, I will go out on record to say that I don't think any of it is bad at all. I'm definitely trying my best to approach this whole album on a very objective standpoint, and try to put my own biases against this type of music aside and try to view it for actually like what it is, and like musically and production wise, as we've said before, is actually really great. It's just simply doesn't really resonate with seemingly any of us for the most part. That being said, we can probably move on to the next one. Actually, did you rank Lost at all? Did you put that anywhere?
I'd give it like a 3.8.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
So the next one, this was actually another one that I had to listen to a couple times, and over time it did grow on me a bit. So Strangers was I believe the second single that came off of this album. The guitar at the beginning, for me, that was a lot like NA. I really liked the guitar at the beginning. It was really vibey, a light tone. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. This was really solid. I think this one I could probably put up to be like a really easy listening song. Like, this is something that I would put on in the car when I'm not really thinking about it and I just want some music in the background. I think this is a pretty good song for that. I really did like the second verse. Maybe it's a little cringy,
Okay.
but I loved the first line off of that leading into the second verse, which is, well, I guess my guardian angel missed the memo. I actually really liked that. I don't really have any like context behind why I think those lyrics are really cool. I just liked it. I thought it flowed really well. I thought it sounded good. That, even on the first listen, kind of stuck out with me. That was on the first half of the song. I was hearing it, but I wasn't really paying attention. And then when that part of the song came on, I kind of perked up and thought about it a little bit more. I liked it. So yeah, this was another one that through a couple times of listening to it more, I liked it more. I will probably, just because maybe the lyrical aspect didn't hit me as much as Lost did, I will probably give this one a 5. I did enjoy it. I still would listen to it again. It still just wasn't like exceptionally good. It didn't really strike me as something I will go back to all the time.
Yeah, so this song, it felt very like poppy, radio friendly.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it almost felt like it didn't belong on the album. Like it didn't fit the theme of the post-apocalypse kind of, it felt like it just didn't fit. It almost seemed like the label needed a single off of their album, and they kind of threw this on there. I mean, it was a good song to listen to, like you said. Like I don't have any hate for the song. I mean, it was a decent song, but I don't think it didn't feel like it was meant to be on this album for anything much more than a radio-friendly single, So I wasn't really loving it for that reason. In fact, I want to give it like a 2.5.
Okay.
I just really, I don't think it flowed well with the rest of the album.
I can see that.
I kind of gotta be with Devin on this one.
Yeah.
It didn't. I feel like it didn't flow well, but not only that, man, there wasn't too much that really stood out for me personally, and that was really noteworthy for me. It just felt like another song, like some of the other songs that we've reviewed and talked about. It was just kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
I was just like, this song, I'd give it a 3, and that's kind of generous for me, honestly.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Which is kind of funny because this is meant to be their big single, and it was kind of one of my most disappointing songs in the album. This is meant to be like their big song. It was one of my least favorites.
I can certainly see how it's a letdown compared to Kool-Aid, because I believe. I might be wrong about this, so don't quote me on it, but I believe Kool-Aid was the first single to be released, and then Strangers was the follow-up. So for Strangers following up Kool-Aid, I can 100% see that as a bit of a letdown, because Kool-Aid, that one's a bit of an outlier for this album in the sense of that one's really thrashy. It could almost not be part of this album. So for Strangers to follow that up, yeah, I can definitely understand the disappointment, especially for it being a single. But
all right, the next one.
Yeah. So the next one, R.I.P.
Yikes.
So yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. Cool. So I can already tell we're already on the same page for this one.
Yikes is right.
This one could easily be my least favorite song on the album.
It is my least favorite.
Yes.
It is mine too.
Yeah.
Well, actually, hold up. I don't know. Maybe not. Let's keep going.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So Shit, I mean, honestly, I was complaining about, like, trap and house music, how I don't like that. That is literally what this song is. You take away the
100%.
you take away the lyrics, this sounds like a song that I would hear in a club. And I really, really do not like that. If I was in a club and I was drunk off of my ass, okay, cool, I'm vibing. But that is about the only scenario where I could see liking something like this. It's just, but I mean that does come. I'm not criticizing it. That does come from a point of preference. I mean, I know, like, my roommate, for instance, he loves house music. That's all of what he makes, and he's very, very good at it, and he loves it. And I can totally get it. It's just so not my cup of tea. And that is all of what this song represented. This, for me, like Caesar said earlier, this was one of those songs that embodied every single aspect of this album that I did not like, and just compiled it into one song. So for this one, this is going to be a solid 1 out of 10 for me.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that one, brother.
We are not far off on this one. This one was not good. Like, I don't know, like, I keep wanting to bringing it back to kind of like my background and like where I live kind of in the music scene. I'm listening to guys like Creator and Exodus and like Death.
Yeah.
You know, like really heavy.
All really, all raw. You know, it's like live studio recording. Yeah, it's like nothing's polished.
Oh, no. This is the complete opposite of everything that I love about music. And like you said, maybe if I was like on LSD and at a rave, like maybe I could get behind this song.
If we were back at the SpongeBob rave right now.
Yes. But there was no redeeming qualities about this. I'm on the same page with you, man. This has got to be a 1.
Yeah.
Like there was I didn't listen to the whole song. If I'm keeping it 100 with you.
I don't even know if I
listened to the album. I listened to the album 2 times, and I skipped this song both times because I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think the first time I listened to the album, I was in the gym, and I did the same thing. I just skipped over it. It was like, I listened to about a quarter of the way through the song, and I was like, I already know I'm going to hate the rest of it. In the first 20 seconds of the song, I have formulated my entire opinion about the whole song. I don't need to listen to the rest of it.
Which is kind of like, there were lots of songs in this album that were very like, they start off bad, and then like you hit some other stuff that's kind of nice. But once I got about halfway through this song and there was nothing like redeemable about it, I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I'm done listening to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I agree fully.
I don't think there's much that I could add to this. I mean, in my notes, I literally just wrote, really not a fan of electronic shit, was very heavy-handed in this song.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, that's just the fact that in the title it says remix. As soon as I saw that, I was like,
yeah, the Dustcore remix. Yeah,
dropped into my stomach. Yeah, Nightcore remix.
Yeah,
so crazy. Where the anime bitches at?
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is definitely going back to the type of audience that it's geared towards for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. About where would you plant this song?
Dude, you don't even want to ask me that. Like, this is one where we can move on. This is absolutely my least favorite on the album.
By far.
Absolutely. By far. 110.
Yeah. I will when I edit this later, I will give this an under the list rating for you. This is below the ranking system.
Well, actually there's one coming up that I didn't like either, so we'll
Okay.
see.
Okay,
we'll get
fair.
there.
Yeah, so we will move on to the next one, Amen, which I actually did like.
It was a surprise.
Yeah, right? So it was the same thing for me.
Mhm.
I thought that this one actually is another contender for one of my favorite tracks. I thought this was sick.
Okay.
The fact that they got Lil Uzi to be on it is sick. I don't know who Daryl Palumbo is, but he's the other feature on this one. He, again, don't know who he is. However, his vocals on it was sick. I do know that. The screams on this were amazing. This was awesome. I mean, they were guttural. He just killed it with the fry screams on this one. This was just another great like rap thrash kind of mix. There's a song that came out recently that I would heavily encourage listening to. I will go on record to say this, I am not a big Falling in Reverse fan by any means. However, the last song that he just did, it's called Ronald. He had Tech Nine in there for it and everything.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
That song is absolutely sick. I'm going to take a minute to say absolutely listen to that song because it's fucking awesome. But this song really reminded me of that. Maybe a little less heavier than that one, but it was very reminiscent of that. And I came off of just listening to Ronald and really liking that song to going to this and instantly hearing the comparisons. So for me, this one ranked really high. I will probably give this up around the same time, or up around the same ranking I gave Kool-Aid and Limousine, and I will give this one a 9. I thought it was sick.
Yeah, so I think this was the big surprise of the album for me. When looking at the album, looking at the tracks before I heard a single thing, this was the one I thought I was gonna hate the most. Mainly because of Lil Uzi Vert. Right? I'm not the biggest rap fan. I mean, I do listen to some rap, some older, like gangster rap, and guys like Ice Cube and KRS-One. Like,
yeah,
I do love that stuff.
I'll fuck with some NWA for sure.
Oh yeah, but the newer rap, it's just not really my thing. So when I saw Lil Uzi Vert, I basically written it off in my mind. But when I got to this track, I was so thoroughly surprised, and I don't know, it was an amazing song, honestly. Like you said, the screams in this song are phenomenal. I mean they're really great. I don't know, maybe it's the shock and surprise of it all, but I mean, I have to rate it the exact same as I did Kool-Aid, as at a 9.
Yeah.
They were both really amazing songs, and yeah, I don't know who Daryl is, but I almost want to look into it now because that song that might be my favorite. I want to say 9.1.
Yeah.
Because it was better Kool-Aid, if I'm being honest.
I can probably agree with better than Kool-Aid, but I probably will still stick with, I think, the same opinion Caesar has and say that my favorite song was probably still Limousine, but this one was still amazing.
Man, right on. I will say this is probably my second favorite song, Limousine being my favorite. I will say Lil Uzi Vert's feature was very surprising and provided a good contrast to Ollie Sykes' vocalism. And I gotta say, this has the best breakdown on the record for me.
Yeah.
I keep that 110 with you. They even threw some electronic shit in there that I was able to glance over and be like, okay, I like the energy. I'm gonna acknowledge this and then just not worry about it too much because the energy remains.
Right.
And that is what is most important to me, and that is what really carries the song for me. So I'm gonna rank this song at like a 7.3.
Sick. We really do
song
have
was a winner for me compared to the record.
Yeah, we do absolutely have some like very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that one was sick. So going on to the next one, the Pussy, the next OST.
Pussy.
Honestly, funny enough, so I was shitting on the trap and the house music vibes of some of the songs in this album. I thought this one was enjoyable. I thought this was funny. This was one of those songs where I just enjoyed this. This was just good fun. I won't like put this up to it was like a great song like some of the other ones on this album. I will just say that this is just one that this is just fun to listen to. Almost like when I'm listening to Tenacious D, right? Like
Okay.
I just think it's fun. It's enjoyable. This is for me just because of how entertaining I think it is. I personally think it's the best OST on the record. So I will probably go ahead and give that one a 6. I was really entertained by it. I liked it.
Yeah, see, I have to disagree.
Yeah.
We were talking about RIP being the worst track, and I kept bringing up, well, there's one further down the list that I also don't like, and this was definitely it.
Yeah.
I guess I can see where you're coming from, where it being just fun and like, but I did not see that.
Yeah.
You know, I did not get that feeling. It was just kind of just almost like nonsense
Yeah.
that I had to sit through. Now, this is one that I did not skip. I actually sat through it all, but I did not enjoy any of it.
Right.
So, I mean, I gave RIP a 1. Like, if I could give this a 0, I think I might. But, I mean, I think it's about on the same page at a 1.
Okay.
I
That's
just
fair.
did not like the track.
Well, for me, I give this a. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about this one because this did nothing for me personally.
Right.
I'm not much into house music, so I can't be like, well, I found it entertaining because that'd be me lying. But at the same time, it didn't affect me in a negative way either. I was just like, oh, the track exists.
Yeah.
I don't acknowledge it in either a positive nor a negative way. So just for the sake that it exists, and I might as well just rate it like a 2.
Okay.
Like, it exists. Like, whatever.
You know what this actually was quite reminiscent of, which probably goes against me liking said track, but it was really reminiscent of 100 gecs. It feels like something they would make.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Which don't really care for 100 gecs personally. I think 100 gecs, which we could have a whole field day reviewing one of their albums, but they're one of those ones where I think musically it's kind of terrible, but if you can get past that, I think it's funny. It's just But yeah, this just feels like something that they would probably make. But yeah, moving on past that one. Die For You is the next one.
Die For You.
Yeah. So this one was another one that I didn't particularly care for. This one was almost... So you were talking about how Strangers felt really radio rock. This song is what struck me as radio rock.
Oh yeah, all the way.
I didn't like this. I didn't care for this one too much just because of how generic it sounded. I don't have too much super bad to say about it. It's just this almost just feels like one of the pandering songs on the record. This feels like one of those songs that you were like, I made this specifically to try to get a certain demographic of people to like it and to make it somewhere specific like the radio.
Yeah.
And it just found it sounded too early 2000s and too poppy for me to like. I don't think it's the worst song on the album by any means, but for that reason, I don't really care for it. So I think personally I'm going to give it about a 4. It was just a little too generic for me to like.
Yeah, I think we're very similar there. This was very radio friendly, and if you would have told me that song was written and sung by Post Malone, I would have believed you. I swear it doesn't even sound like the lead singer of Bring Me the Horizon singing this song. Like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't even sound like the band, which was so off-putting. You know, I can't say much about it. I don't think it was very great. You know, like you said, just trying to get that demographic into the new album and getting people talking about it. I'm gonna say it's a 3.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything new. I literally wrote, feels kind of generic if this is what their sound is like. And I gave this one a 4.5.
Yeah.
And there's not much that I can say on it that hasn't already been said.
Yeah. That's totally fair. And with that being said, on to the very last song of this album. Dig It.
Dig it.
So this one, I thought this was actually really solid for an ending track of the album. I actually kind of like a lot of ending tracks that do what this one did. I like when you have albums like this that are really high energy and they come down on a song that just ends very mellow. I kind of like that. It just kind of leads you into the ending. I'm just for reference for when you are on this later with us. Devin already knows I'm going to do this. He's already accustomed to this. But I will attribute a lot of examples to Avenged Sevenfold because I love Avenged Sevenfold. But their most recent album, they did something sort of similar where the very last song is literally no vocals. It is a piano track. So, and it kind of gave me something a little similar to that. It just kind of took down the whole really aggressive and high energy aspects of the album and just kind of killed it at the end. And I mean that in a good way. I think it was a pretty solid ending. And it also plays into the whole dystopian vibe that I really liked about the album. Like the beginning of the track where you have the robotic voice saying, "I'm sorry, this dictionary is encrypted. Please enter your cipher to continue. Access granted. You have 132 documents, 1 audio log. Would you like to listen?" I think that was very cool. It really played into that dystopian vibe. That I was talking about how I would attribute a lot of this to Starset earlier. That is 100% something Starset would put in one of their songs. And I thought that was really cool. I probably won't say it was the best album on the song or best album on the album. Jesus. God damn, I've had too many buzzballs. I'm sorry. The best song on the album. Shit. Cuz the ending portion, this is what really brought it down for me cuz this was so weird. I don't know if you remember, but at the end there is literally, I timed it. There was a minute and a half of dead silence at the end of the song. And that was so weird for me. I don't know why it did that. I think, like, because after that minute and a half, it brought back up some cool instrumentals after that I thought was neat. But I think that would have been cool if that was maybe, like, 20 seconds instead of a minute and a half. It was literally a minute and a half of dead silence halfway through the song. And that was just so weird to me. I don't know why they did that. But outside of that, I thought it was a pretty vibey and nice way to end the album. It was pleasant. It's a nice, easy listening song and a delicate way to end the album. So I'll probably give that one about a 6 out of 10.
Real.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Again, we're very similar. Just like every song on this album so far, I feel like we've been very similar. Um, I loved that it brought back the um, like the theme of the album. You know, it really I felt like it tied up the theme of the album. And I did not hate the minute of silence actually because um back in the CD days, right? If you wanted to add a hidden track, like something hidden on your album, you would add an extra track and it would just be silent until the very end.
Yeah.
But now in the days of streaming, if you want a hidden track, the way you have to do that is add it on to the end of your last track. So I really enjoyed actually the fact that they were like calling back to the days of like hidden tracks. Like you don't see hidden tracks on albums anymore. I thought that was really cool. Actually, it was one of my favorite parts of the whole album. Is that they added like a hidden track. But no, it was pretty good track. You know, I thought the hidden part of it really brought it up, and then that it, like you said, it was chill, and it brought back kind of the themes and the like whole point of why we're listening almost. You know, I want to rate it a 7. It was pretty good.
Okay. Sick.
What I liked about this song is the fact that I'm going to reinforce what you guys already said about how it was just a mellow way to end the record. But I think what makes it such a solid way to end the record was how consistent the song structure was.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't rely on so much of a dynamic contrast of heavy breakdowns and guitar riffage to softer melodic electronic music.
Right.
And I think that's what made the track stand out for me personally. And saying that, I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Okay.
I don't have like an amazing amount to say about this about the last track, but I think the fact that it was just so consistent makes it very listenable for me, and the fact that it wasn't such a roller coaster to listen to at first is what makes it such an excellent song to end the record with. And you know, not that like the rest of the songs are a roller coaster like in an extremely negative way. I, considering the fact that this is supposed to be a concept record, I believe that within exploring the lyrics and album's previous you know, we are able to kind of maybe decipher what it's about, but you know, this was just a solid way to end the record, and I appreciate that. Very soft, very beautiful way to end the record. I like it.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree on that.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think overall, for me personally, this is probably not an album that I will come back to too much. There are some songs that I think really did stick out, that I did add to some playlists, but it just wasn't. It just didn't strike true. And I think that is pretty common among all of us. It just wasn't a great album, personally.
Real.
Yeah, definitely wasn't my favorite.
Yep.
So
I'm with you.
let's give it all the whole album a final rating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Go ahead, Noah.
Oh, geez. I think because since everything was so back and forth, I mean, maybe this is like a bit of a cop-out, but I will probably give it like a 5 out of 10. Just because the songs on this album that were good were really good. And then the songs that were bad were really fucking bad. But overall, I mean, I think like comparing those two aspects, it was pretty middle of the road for me. There are some songs that I actually will come back and listen to, and then some that I absolutely will drink more buzzballs to try and forget.
Yeah, so I think we're in a similar vein. Like here in my head, I'm arguing between a 6 and a 4, just because there were some songs that were stinkers. They were stinkers, dude. And I want to rate the album a 4, but yet again, there were some songs that are really good that makes me want to rate it a 6. I feel like I have to split the difference, and I have to go 5. And that's not even necessarily meaning that the album was mediocre all the way through.
Yeah.
I think if you call that album mediocre all the way through, you are lying. Like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
I think there were very high highs and there were some very low lows, just like depression. But yeah, I mean, I think you have to call it right dead center.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Caesar, my man, as the person who is adamant about really not liking house music, you might have the lowest opinion on this.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was like, I agree with the sentiment of high highs but really low lows, but I can't seem to shake the lows.
Yeah,
I just can't. For me personally,
and I'm not going to hate you for it.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. But I also agree with the statement of if you choose to if you choose to not see the highs and just choose to just shit on this album just to shit on it, you're kind of missing the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I agree with that sentiment, but I can't much give this record. Like, knowing what I like, I can't give this record higher than like a 4.
That's fair.
So I'm just gonna go with a 4.
That's totally fair. I'm personally gonna want you to listen to That's the Spirit and then get back to me on that. Like, do that on your own time and then get back to me on how you feel about that album. Because that one, personally, that is one of my favorite, like, early... I actually don't even know. When the hell was that? I don't want to say early 2000s, because when was That's the Spirit released?
15.
Okay, it's 15. I'm glad I didn't say early 2000s. I guess for me that feels early 2000s, right? But it was released in 2015, but for me that is a very nostalgic record, and that is my favorite That is my favorite... Crap, I'm forgetting the word. Help. I've had too many buzzballs.
The Horizon album?
No. Oh, yes, but favorite,
Record?
Crap! Help!
I'm trying!
Do better!
Release?
Nope.
Yep.
God damn.
Oh, I'm totally blanking. Okay. It's my favorite time of the band. We'll keep it simple because I'm forgetting.
Era!
Thank you! Fuck
Here
me!
we go.
Holy shit. Listen, there's a reason I went into film. I'm not smart. Alright? There's a reason I go to a liberal arts college. Alright, give me a break.
Liberal.
Yeah. Favorite era of the band. Thank you. That's very nostalgic of me. I do think That's the Spirit is an amazing album. It's not just my favorite Bring Me the Horizon album. It's really up there as like shit, I don't know. It might be one of my top 10 albums. I think That's the Spirit is really good.
Oh wow.
So I would listen to That's the Spirit personally. If you want to get like a better feel of Bring Me the Horizon, if you didn't like this, because like I said, it has all of the heavy aspects of this album that we liked, minus all the trap and the house and electronic portions of this.
All right, and if you want to hear my opinion, on Bring Me the Horizon, I think Suicide Season is even harder. I mean, like,
yeah, I do agree. 100%.
It's a genuinely like hard album.
Yeah.
Okay.
2008, like it was before that Like, I feel like even songs in That's the Spirit have a little bit. It was kind of like the start of the like electronic metal.
I could see that. Actually, with
but
like
Suicide Season, it's hard. If you're like into super hard stuff, I think that Suicide Season would be the better pick. It's almost like an August Burns Red album.
Yeah.
It's very hard screaming,
I actually can totally agree with that. I personally like bringing the That's the Spirit more, but I do agree with Suicide Season being heavier. He's absolutely right.
Okay.
But with that all being said, I think it's probably about time that we figure out what album we're doing next. So, for the sake of, I think, going on, we'll probably all collectively just pitch in a bunch of really random albums, or we'll have people that are listening give us recommendations. But for now, I just literally went through and picked a handful of random albums, either that there's one on here that I have listened to and others that I've actually wanted to listen to, or that are just kind of random. So I went ahead and put it on a little spinner wheel here that if you guys go ahead and check on Discord, you can see my wheel.
Real.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and spin it. So the album choices that I have are Like Clockwork, which is by Queens of the Stone Age, El Camino, Black Keys, Clancy, the new album by Stone Temple Pilots, Strangers to Ourselves, Modest Mouse, and Saviors by Green Day.
Whoa. You meant to say 21 Pilots, right?
What did I say?
You said Stone Temple Pilots.
Listen,
yeah, you did.
Listen, I've had 3 too many buzzballs. All right, give me a break.
Three too many is right, brother.
However, I do love Stone Temple Pilots. We will say that.
I was just about to say a Stone Temple Pilots album would be certainly welcome.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But that's one of those albums that's like we would give all the songs like 10 out of 10. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's true.
I love Stone Temple Pilots.
We'd be too busy fangirling over that shit.
Yeah. So all of these albums except Saviors I haven't listened to.
Okay.
The only reason I put Saviors there was just because I thought it would be an entertaining one. Because I know Devin and I like Green Day. However, I will acknowledge that in like the metal and grunge scene, him and I are probably in the minority with liking Green Day. So it would be kind of cool to hear other people's opinions on that album. So that's why I put that one here.
Yep.
Everything else is stuff that I've maybe heard one song from that I thought would be a good idea to kind of listen to the whole thing and see what everybody would think. And that's just what I have for the first time around. Later on, we can all contribute to this, or we can have people recommend us albums, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Sweet.
But we will go ahead and see what this one gives us.
El Camino.
And it looks like we're doing Saviors.
It looks like Survivors. Okay.
You mean Saviors?
Saviors. That's what
All
I
right.
said.
Yeah, that's totally what you said. Maybe
Listen, buddy,
maybe
I've had a
your
couple of
your
buzzballs.
3 buzzballs steep. All right. Yeah, looks like Saviors is next one.
Buzzballs.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you for anybody who watched this far and listened to us ramble
yes,
and go
please.
on and on.
If you listen to us drunk assholes, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it
Thank you.
very
and we're
much.
Sorry.
Very much so.
And please very much, I will go ahead and leave the socials of our Instagram page and anybody on here that also has an Instagram page in the description. Feel free to follow and help us on later down the road. We thank you very much, and we'll see you for the next one.